Yesterday, I had an amazing video that came out, as all my videos are, where I talked a bit about two cards that I really like, titled Two Great Cards from Marvel Champions. You can check it out. It's on my page. But one of the things I talked about was this card, Toe to Toe, and how it may actually work differently than what we think. And it kind of blew a lot of people's minds because a lot of people will read this card as a one-cost event, Toe to Toe. It's an aggression card. Choose an enemy. That enemy attacks you, deal 5 damage to enemy. If you were to read that simply line by line, how we're usually taught how that works, you would go, okay, I choose a minion on the table, let's say. That minion hits me for a damage or whatever, and I deal 5 damage back to that minion, right? Is how most people would read that card, but it may be actually different than what we think. Now, if this sounds confusing to you, well, it kind of is. And I have to give a big shout out to the rules professionals in my Discord channel, which if you're not part of the Discord, make sure you join. The link is down below. But JS and M did a great job kind of holding my hand through this and really explaining it. They always help me out with the rules, so I greatly appreciate them. Thank you to both of you. But yeah, so the way that this may work, and it's may, we're trying to get clarification from Fantasy Flight Games and we'll explain the reasoning why in a second. You may be able to choose an enemy, and that enemy attacks you, but the enemy attack does not have to finish for you to deal that 5 damage. Now, you've probably never heard of this before, right? Why would we start an attack and not finish an attack? That's never been a thing in the rules. Well, there is a rule that we don't really talk about, or a clarification of rules that we don't really talk about that much in Marvel Champions. This is page 50 of the 1.5 rules, and it's under Widow's Bite. So it says, if I have Widow's Bite in play and I reveal a minion with Quick Strike, which resolves first? So simply enough, this is Widow's Bite. It's a 1-cost upgrade. After a minion enters play, discard Widow's Bite. Deal 2 damage to that minion and stun it, right? And if you just had an enemy like, I don't know, this one that has Quick Strike in it, right? Normally this enemy would come into play, do the 2 damage from the Quick Strike, and then you move on with your life. But with a card like Widow's Bite, who has priority, right? Who has priority over this? Now, if we actually looked at the rules and you break down the timing, right? Not that one. Here we go. There is a timing chart, which most people will go to, and constant abilities, keywords, and the icons would be first, then status cards and all that fun stuff. This line would come before a response, right? If we were to go by this, right? Response is all the way down here. Is it force response? Hero response. So it's just a response, whatever. It'd be down here, right? So this would state that the timing break would be, well, the Quick Strike would go first, right? Obviously it would go first. We just look at the timing chart. We are all good here. Case closed, D20. Not so fast. Because this is their response, and this is a big response. Quick Strike triggers when a minion engages a player and minions enter player engaged with the player who revealed them. Thus, Quick Strike and the response on Widow's Bite have the same timing trigger. Interesting. Keywords have timing priority over responsibilities. So Quick Strike initiates first. This is important. Initiates first. Widow's Bite can be triggered after the Quick Strike attack initiates. If the damage from the Widow's Bite defeats the attacking enemy, its attack does not resolve. Otherwise, the attack resolves and the enemy will be stunned for its next attack. That is massive, right? They are differentiating initiating an attack and actually attacking, right? In our heads, we've always gone, no, the enemy just attacks, right? Because if you look back under activation, here it is. This is all it says, right? Activation is very, very broad and probably needs to be like defined better. And at some point, I think they will tackle this. But there are 2 types of enemy activations, attack and scheming. We're not going to worry about the scheming side of things. But during step 2, the villain phase, the villain activates once per player in player order. If the identity of the player resolving the activation is in hero form, the villain initiates an attack against the player's identity. Again, initiates an attack. If the identity of that player resolving is alter ego, they initiate a scheme. The next step, right? During the villain, or the next step would be the villain phase. Each minion then does the same exact thing, right? So they don't break it down of like, okay, initiates and then attacks, right? They don't break it down. The only time they do is on this ruling, and this is a new entry in 1.5. So this isn't like a holdover they forgot about, because anything in red is new for 1.5. So they consciously put this in. Now, there was a follow-up kind of question on the Hall of Heroes that's right here. Quick Strike is considered resolved when the subsequent attack initiates, not finishes, right? This is from Hall of Heroes. Quick Strike and Widow's Bite are both responding to a minion entering play and engaging Black Widow. And Quick Strike is resolving first by having the minion initiate its attack. but Widow's Bite is then able to resolve before all the steps of the attack are completed. And since the attack was initiated, the minion is still complete. It will still complete its attack even with Widow Bite stun, unless a 2 damage dealt defeats it, right? So you don't even stun before the rest of the quick strike. Kind of confusing, right? So this is why I bring all this up with toe-to-toe, because the idea is the enemy attacks you. Well, does the enemy have to initiate an attack with you, or does the enemy have to finish the attack, right? We now need clarification on this because of this Widow's Bite ruling. Now, who knows which way they will really rule on this? I assume that to keep things nice and tidy, they'll just say like, no, the enemy has to complete the attack, right? And they're going to do some wording with this and whatever. But it is an interesting thing, and it is one of those things that like this stuff that they clarify card rules on matters a lot. It changes a lot of the game, and it's really kind of fascinating stuff. So for me, do I really care which way this actually rules? No, it'd be nice to get kind of clarity, because if this rules how we think it will with Widow's Bite and trying to keep it consistent of initiating but not necessarily finishing, Toe-to-Toe becomes a powerful card, right? It becomes like a bonkers good card all of a sudden. Now, if it works the way we've always been playing it, then it's a fine card in certain situations. But anyway, now you have all the information. Now you have all the facts. Let me know down below. Let me know your thoughts down below. And again, I don't want this to become like a thing like, oh, this is like upsetting or whatever. I find this stuff fascinating personally. I love these kind of in-depth little nitty-gritty rule stuff. Again, I don't have a horse in the race of, who should win or win out or who shouldn't. Like, that doesn't matter to me. I'm indifferent about it. But I am interested to see how they rule, because it will change a lot of things moving forward, and it'll change a lot of cards from the past. So like I said, let me know down in the comments what you think about this ruling, because I'm very, very interested in hearing about that. And if you haven't yet, make sure to like, subscribe, all that fun stuff. See you all next time.